to our webinar. Hope you are all ready for the next session. Okay, for the next session, I would like to welcome Associate Professor Dr. Adibah Abdul Latif from University of Technology Malaysia, and she was the winner for 2018 AKRI for the category of Pentaksiran Alternative or Alternative Assessment. Thank you, Dr. Adibah, for being able to be with us today to share your insights on this category. The floor is now yours, Dr. Adibah. Over to you.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good day to everyone, especially to the chairman.
I think Dr. Adibah, you are muted.
Okay, alright. Okay. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good day to everyone. Okay, especially to the chairperson, Dr. Amirul Ramzan Ali, right? Okay, and so I think all the lecturers are here, right? I mean, all the participants are the lecturers. Okay, so very good day to everyone. Salam Rajab. Okay, Allahumma barik lana fi Rajab wa Sya'ban wa balaghna fi Ramadan insyaAllah. So thank you very much for IIUM because invited me for the sharing sessions. Okay, actually I won this award on 2018, 2 years back. Okay, but still invite me. So thank you very much, and I try to share whatever that maybe can be, is useful and can give some tips, the do and the don'ts for those who are interested to apply for this alternative assessment criteria. Okay, so first of all, Mabruk for everyone. Why I wrote Mabruk purposely because this is IIUM. Okay, I know IIUM is the specialty is not only in English as the medium language in teaching and learning, but also my brother was an alumni from IIUM. Okay, so he said that Arabic is something compulsory there. So I try to find some words that maybe, just for induction set, Mabruk for everyone. Why Mabruk? Because you are selected to be here. Okay, sometimes Allah give us time, but where we are, it depends on what Allah want to, biiznillah, maybe. So you are chosen to be here. Okay, and I'm also chosen to be here, Alhamdulillah. So this is insyaAllah the Majlis Ilmu we can share. And as usual, I hope also that this will give benefit to everyone, insyaAllah. Okay, so as I say, I'm not the best, but I would like to share. And the time that I won 2018, maybe this category is the quite new at that time, 2018, and now I think it's more more participants will apply for this category. Okay, so first of all, this is alternative assessment. Okay. Okay. Who wants to enter this kind of category? You have to make sure that your assessment is really alternative assessment. So to make sure, of course, there is no such as examination, traditional examination, although the examination is being conducted through online. Okay, now we know that since the pandemic COVID, okay, everyone use the technology, okay, as the medium to do testing, to do measurement. In fact, okay, when I was when I was giving talk last time, have one of the lecturer, they thought alternative assessment is like alternative, okay, from the face-to-face, which is go to online. Okay, so they thought that alternative assessment is because of using computer, is because using the online learning, is because using the e-learning. Okay, actually, if you are using the assessment, okay, but the assessment is still like traditional, although being conducted in online medium, it's still considered as the traditional assessment, not alternative assessment. So alternative assessment is something beyond the traditional psychometrically driven testing. Why I emphasize on the psychometrically terms, because this is alternative assessment. Okay, later I will share to you some of the common mistakes that happen to the candidates that goes into this category. Okay, so The alternative assessment is designed to assess learning tasks that stimulate critical thinking skills and require students to produce or demonstrate knowledge rather simply recall information provided to them by others. Okay, so I think, I believe that actually many of us already apply this alternative assessment. Sometimes maybe kind of, terminology. Okay, oh, this is actually alternative assessment. I did it, but I don't know this is alternative assessment. It's normal. Okay, it's normal because in education, we are rich with terminology. Very rich. We have pedagogy, we have andragogy, we have heutagogy, we have so many gogi there. But the concept assessment is something part of teaching and learning. So in assessment, also we are rich with the terminology, but as long as it can measure, okay, the student's ability, okay, the true student ability, so I think it's okay. I mean, although you are maybe not from education background, but as long as you know what is the purpose of assessment, inshallah you can enter this category, no problem. Okay. So next, for this competition, okay, it is all about how alternative assessment can help you to measure students' PLO, program learning outcome. So last year, I was invited as a panel, okay, for this category. So I can see that some of the candidates or lecturers that apply for this category, they not relate how the alternative assessment can help them to measure the PLO. I'm not sure why, because I think in the form already emphasized that how your alternative assessment can help you to measure the learning outcome. This is very important because when as a panel, first we are instructed to find either this alternative assessment is really can measure the PLO or not. First of all is documentation. Okay, documentation is very important. For your information, first how they filter, they will see either all the document is enough or not, or is following the formatting or not. If not, it will be rejected. It will not be evaluated. So I know sometimes when I see the one that been rejected, that not being evaluated, I can see, oh, it has potential actually for this kind of assessment. But because you are not following the formatting, so for first filter is already there, it's already rejected. So sayang, because when I see there is a potential. So as and also some of it, I can see that the panel, they reject the application that is not within the range of the time. Let's say the last you can submit your application is on, let's say, 1st March. So if let's say the submission is reached to the secretary on 2nd March, they also did not accept. So make sure that that kind of thing we manage, and we make sure that that kind of technical things we cater first. Okay, then we look at this kind of content. Okay, so some common mistakes or why rejection happens. Okay, the first one is this is the mistake. Candidate explain on the teaching and learning method rather than the assessment itself. You have to remember that. Okay, you have to remember that we have so many categories, and one of the category is the teaching and learning. So what I realized is, although this lecturer is in the assessment category, but they have tendency to explain more about the teaching and learning. It looks like now you are not in the assessment category. You are in the teaching and learning category. You know, so it is also something that make you cannot win, of course, because if like that, you better go to the teaching and learning category, not assessment. Okay. So the second one, candidates did not relate the assessment, okay, the alternative assessment with the program learning outcome achievement. So we cannot see how this really can help the students to achieve the program learning outcomes, or how this alternative assessment can help students to grow, okay, especially about their skills, either cognitive, affective, or psychomotor. Okay, next. Okay, this is also very important because one of the aim for this assessment is to measure the PLO. So normally one of the criteria in the competition is we want to see either the constructive alignment is accurate or not. Okay, for example, let's say you are using the project. Okay, you are using the project, but you want to measure, let's say, maybe the affective domain. When we see the rubric is more on cognitive and psychomotor. It's not on affective domain. So you have to make sure that, okay, first you make sure your PLO is fall under which domain, either cognitive, affective, or psychomotor. Sometimes the assessment is good, means that you are choosing the right assessment to measure the PLO. For example, you are using the presentation to measure the PLO for communication skills. Of course, that's right, that's correct. But when we see the rubric, oh my God, it's not measuring the one that you want to measure. So it's not only about the inaccurate in the format of writing, but we also look at the rubric. How this rubric is really aligned with the domain that you want to measure. Okay? Okay. Number 4, the common mistake is there is no evidence of invention. Okay? Effectiveness means if you just start to use the invention for this semester and you still not have any evidence of your students' achievement, either the student achievement become increase or decrease, okay, of course increase, okay. So you better apply for the next year. Why? Because we need the evidence. Okay, so better you go for, and for those who want to enter the competition for this year, make sure that you already have the outcome of your students' achievement. So you can claim that using the this kind of alternative assessment. So this is my result for the previous cohort and this is the result for the current cohort. So we can see the differences. Okay. Okay. And this is also very important. Many of the candidates, they relate the theory with the teaching and learning theory. Okay, learning style, maybe that constructivism, socialism, which is supposed, because this is alternative assessment category, you should relate with the alternative measurement theory. Okay, so from this common mistake actually, okay, vice versa, you can reverse it to make it as the strength of your application. For example, okay, you have to make sure that your alternative assessment is really about assessment. You explain more on assessment, not on teaching and learning. The second one, make sure that your alternative assessment can measure the PLO. The third one, make sure the form of writing of the constructive alignment between the teaching and learning method, between the learning outcome and between the assessments are aligned. And make sure also the rubric is also aligned. Okay, the fourth one, make sure you have an evidence to prove the effectiveness of the alternative assessment. And the final one, which is, this is actually extra, okay, because when I evaluated last time, I can say that only maybe less than 10%, okay, less than 10% explain about the measurement theory. Most of them relate with the learning theory only, okay. So first of all also, okay, I want to tell you my experience. The time I present, okay, we are giving, I think, 5 minutes or 10 minutes pitch. I'm very sorry, I forgot already. But what happened, for the first 3 minutes, there is some technical error happen. So I cannot, okay, display my slide. But the time is still running. I have to cater. So first of all, you have to make sure that you really can explain your work, okay, without the slide. I mean, you really understand what you do. That's a simple word. So in 3 minutes, I explain without the slide. You just imagine that it's a competition, a big competition, and I did not memorize anything because I rely on my slide, but Alhamdulillah, that night, of course, we will look back our slide. So it's like still in my mind, what is the word after word after word. So I just try to deliver, yeah, you know, as what I understand as possible. Of course, you understand because this is your work. That's important. Okay, like Viva Boss say, if your work you can present. If you are not doing that work, you cannot present. That's simple, right? So make sure that you know what is assessment. So assessment is something is a word from Latin, which is mean assidia, to sit with. So you have to make sure also your assessment is something that really can observe students' achievement. Although this competition is also give the opportunity for those who are doing the summative assessment, but I can say that the formative assessment might have more potential compared to the summative assessment, unless the summative assessment is really have a very, you know, a big invention. Okay, so maybe it can beat the formative assessment, because you know that we in UTM, sorry, in university, okay, we emphasize more on formative assessment, okay, the process of learning and teaching, the process of students development, rather than the summative assessment. And because I said, what I said, the assessment itself is actually means that you monitor your students' progress as you sit with them. Okay, so in assessment, one is supposed to sit with the learner. So this implies it is something we do with and for, not to the students. So if you can write all of these things, you can embed in the writing. You know, you have a very short essay you have to write. So try to blend as many as assessment terminology to attract the judge. Okay, to attract the judge. So they will think that, oh, you are really understand what assessment means. Okay, so this is either you are using testing, measurement, evaluation, or assessment. When say assessment, of course, we will ask what kind of testing, the tools that you use, how you measure, what rubric you use, and how you evaluate. And finally, we can see how the assessment happens. Either you are using the assessment for learning, which is formative, assessment of learning, which is summative, or assessment as learning, okay, which is more on self-directed learning. Can, no problem. Or maybe you want to use the placement assessment, formative assessment, diagnostic assessment, summative assessment, no problem. As long as you know your alternative assessment is fall under which category. Is it placement test? Is it formative test? Is it diagnostic test? Or is it summative test? Okay. Either this is to look at the norm reference test or criterion reference test. Is your alternative assessment is to compare the student? If yes, so you can put the word norm reference test. If it's just to look, if it is, the purpose is to look either the criteria being achieved or not, then it goes to criterion reference test. So I would suggest, if you want to enter this category, if let's say, oh, this is so technical, this is so many terms, so why not you involve, okay, lecturers from education that will versed with this, you know, terminology to help you, especially in writing, in doing the documentation. So we as a jury, not we, I mean that time, the jury will see that, okay, this work is really aligned or relevant with this category, okay? So assessment, okay, we have alternative and traditional or conventional. So of course, this one, the conventional one, okay, let me do the pointer here. Okay, the conventional one, you cannot. Okay, of course you cannot. If you enter using the conventional one, for sure you will be rejected. So you have to use the alternative assessment. Either it is performance-based or authentic assessment. So the performance-based means that students will perform, okay, that assessment. The authentic, it must be under the real situation, okay? For example, if you are doing something just simulation, okay, not using the real world application, okay, it goes to performance-based. So what I can say that all the authentic assessment is performance-based, but not all the performance-based are authentic assessment. For example, if you do some invention on teaching learning practice, which is the students will go to schools and they will use your assessment. So that one we can call as authentic assessment, because they as a student, they will go to the schools. Okay, but if let's say only the simulation, they do the micro teaching in the class with their friends, so that one is more on performance based. Okay. Now during COVID, okay, I believe that many assessment is one of the criteria or the things that being emphasized in education. Okay, so that's why I said that in assessment, okay, online is not necessary. It's not doesn't mean that if you do online it is alternative. It can be also traditional. See here, traditional can be online and can be face to face. Okay, and online can be synchronous or asynchronous. But online also can be alternative. Either happen synchronous or asynchronous. Okay, in real time or not real time. Okay. So, alternative assessment are used to determine what students can and cannot do, in contrast to what they know or do not know. Okay. So maybe I can share with all of you the characteristic of alternative assessment to make sure that either your alternative assessment is really alternative assessment. First, okay, of course, is to measure the students' performance. And it involves the higher level of thinking. Okay, if it is measuring the cognitive skills, of course, it must be from applying, goes to analyzing, and then goes to evaluating, and goes to creating. But let's say if you are measuring the psychomotor domain, or you are measuring the affective domain. So for psychomotor domain, you have to go beyond the guided response, because under the Simpson taxonomy, okay, we have the first one is perception. Then we have perception. The second one is the set. The third one is guided response. Okay, the fourth one, okay, which is mechanism. So make sure that your alternative assessment achieve the level of mechanism in psychomotor domain. And if you are using the affective domain to be measured using the alternative assessment, okay, so hopefully it falls under at least valuing, because under the Krathwohl, okay, Krathwohl's taxonomy, okay, we have we have the first one is receiving, then you have responding, the third one is valuing. Although responding can involve the performance base, but it's still for me not reach the philosophy of valuing, okay, effective assessment. So if you want to measure the student, for example, student interest, student motivation, student akhlak, if PLO, maybe you want to measure students ethics. So make sure the CLO, the course learning outcome, is at least A3, effective 3, which is valuing, not receiving, not responding. Okay, so the chances for valuing is higher to be measured effectively using the alternative assessment compared to the receiving and also responding. Okay, so make sure it is a meaningful instructional task. Meaningful means that student can use your assessment, okay, as something they can learn. This is what we call as assessment for learning or assessment as learning. Okay, and if you can relate to the real world application, in fact, if you are using your alternative assessment, which is in the real setting, is the best. Is the best. And you have to remember one thing, okay, in alternative assessment, okay, it involves human judgment in scoring. Although the application, the computer, can help you in terms of calculating, analyzing, but the one who use the rubric, the one who give marks to the rubric, must be human. Believe me that this is actually one of the how can I say, something blessed for us as a lecturer, because our job cannot be replaced by the robot. Because robot, they don't have feelings, how they want to give the score, judgment. Okay, so although how advanced the alternative assessment is, okay, it still cannot be marked by the computer. Okay, not like MCQ, multiple choice question, true false item. Okay, which can be marked by the system. But for alternative assessment, the system or the application is only help you to analyze, to generate report, but the one who should give the score, who should give the mark is human. Okay, so if let's say someone else, let's say you give to the robot to evaluate, okay, maybe we should then look at the reliability or validity of the assessment. What this is very interesting. Maybe if someone have that kind of assessment that can be graded by the robot, okay, but using alternative assessment, well, that's good. Try to apply the competition. So we want to see either it's really can replace. You also can see either your alternative assessment in which ladder. Alamak, your internet connection is unstable. Dr. Amirul, can you hear me?
Yes, doctor.
Is it okay? The line lagging or not?
Yeah.
Okay, because
a bit just now, yeah.
A bit just now, because
Yeah.
just now I got your internet is unstable. Okay, if let's say you cannot hear or anything, please notify me, doctor. Okay,
thank you so much, doctor.
Okay, all right, thank you, doctor. Okay, so the second thing that maybe you can take into account also, your alternative assessment is in which ladder? Because in alternative assessment, we have 3 main ladder. The first one is when you are only using your alternative assessment in summative measure. In summative. Okay, in Malaysian Qualification Agency, in MQA, okay, they said that all the course must have summative assessment, but they didn't say that you must use the final examination. Okay, now when pandemic COVID, you can see that many lecturers start to switch. Okay, start to switch their summative assessment in form of final exam to another alternative assessment. But remember, other alternative assessment doesn't mean that goes to laptop, or sorry, goes to computer, internet, no. Means the real alternative assessment, something that need the students' performance based. Okay, these few back days, we are shocked by the one platform which is called CHEGG. I'm not sure how it's pronunciation, the right pronunciation, which is now students can put their questions in that application, and they can get the answer from the expert. Okay, so they subscribe. So today in my university, we are discussing about that. Okay, because they copy and they paste the final exam questions in that application. So the expert will reply. So as if they answer the exam. So this is a misconduct, misbehavior. So which one is more important? You see now when we want to sharpen their cognitive skills, but what happened to their ethics, to their integrity? So now you see that it's a time for you to change from the traditional exam to the alternative assessment, because in alternative assessment, no application can replace your assessment. Okay, all right. So or the second one, you are not only using in the summative assessment, but okay, you also use the alternative assessment in formative assessment. So in formative assessment, of course, continuous. So it's a periodically monitoring, okay, of formative assessment. And the highest one, okay, which is, I think in Malaysia, when I do a survey in Malaysia, I'm not sure if you are not my sample, I'm not sure, but so far when I do the survey, there is no higher education do the flexible assessment. Flexible learning, yes, so many. In fact, pandemic COVID, the number of flexible learning is much, much higher. Flexible assessment is not same with flexible learning. Okay, in my research, when I ask them what is flexible learning, they will answer, flexible assessment. Majority of the lecturer will say flexible assessment is the assessment that we can do at anywhere, anytime, you know, and anyhow. Which is actually that one is more on flexible learning, not flexible assessment. Flexible assessment means, okay, let's say you want to measure the one PLO. Let's say you want to measure students' critical thinking. Okay, you give the freedom to the students on how they want to be measured. Some of them, they are not good in talking. They want to do some writing assessment. Some of them, they are not good in writing. So they said, I want to achieve this PLO by using the presentation. Some of them say, I want you to measure my this PLO for me, let's say using the project. So we give the freedom for them because, as I said before, assessment is to maximize the potential. Okay, it's not to see what is the weakness of the students and improve it. Not only that, it's more on you develop them. So in flexible assessment, students are given the opportunity to develop using their own strength. So let's say someone want to do this for your AKRI. It's very beautiful. But as I said, you must do it first. You have an evidence, then you can enter the competition. Okay, if you not have any data yet, so better not. Better you keep first, okay, and then you bring to another year. Okay, so this is only the explanation. So there are many alternative assessments, This is only some of them. Okay, and if you can write on the cycle of alternative assessment that happened in your alternative assessment, first how you identify the outcomes, okay, which PLO that you want to measure, are you going to measure the cognitive or affective or the psychomotor, okay, and of course in Malaysia we are using the outcome-based education and constructive alignment, so try to embed everything, okay, so the judge will be happy to see that how you can embed everything in the same way of their philosophy. Who is their philosophy? I mean KPM, the philosophy of Malaysia and the national philosophy. So this is very beautiful if you can put them all aligned under one alternative assessment. Okay, so this is actually the concept of OBE. So you identify the outcomes and then you determine the assessment. Okay, you determine the learning activities that align with the assessment, and finally you will check either your assessment or your curriculum is still relevant or not. Okay, so it's a we call it as a washback theory. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, students should be able to apply and conduct in a group the research using a valid instrument, for example. Okay, so I will not touch about this. I just want to show how you can make sure that all the process in your alternative assessment is using the right way. Okay. Okay. So the second one, of course, choose an alternative assessment. So normally the alternative assessment, it will lead to the transformative learning, but do not say about the transformative learning too much in your document, in the form, because the transformative learning, they have another category. The one that you should explain more is under the alternative assessment. But what I want to say, this is actually what happens, because when they do alternative assessment, indirectly the transformative learning will happen. Okay, so as I said, the previous candidate, majority of them, tell us more about the learning, the transformative learning compared to the alternative assessment. So we cannot give a good mark there because there is no such what criteria in the rubric for this category. Okay, so this is example. Okay, we have learning outcomes. So this is the alternative assessment strategies, and this is the transformative learning activities. Just emphasize on in the middle one. Okay. So when you have that alternative assessment, make sure you also tell the jury, okay, how you choose the assessment tools, the assessment tool, okay? So you must have the assessment strategies and you must have the assessment tool. Assessment tools means like rubric, what else? Questionnaire. I think majority alternative assessment, they will use the rubric, majority, okay? So we have to remember that there is no one tool that can measure everything. No one size fits all. Okay, so make sure you tell us, or you tell the jury what is the assessment tool that measure the assessment strategies. Okay, so you can adapt, you can adopt, or you can self-develop. As long as you can prove the reliability and the validity of the instrument, of the tools, then okay, no problem. Okay, so in my case, I tell the jury during I'm the candidate, so I show them the meta content analysis, and also sometimes if you are not so familiar on how to develop the rubric, you can try to use this Rubric application. Okay, it's a web, it's free. But personally, I think you will be more comfortable if you develop your own rather than you put in the Rubric. Rubric is for those who are beginning, maybe still do not know how the form of the either the holistic rubric or alternative, or the analytical rubric. Okay. Okay, this is, for example, the research proposal. Okay, will be use the rubric as the assessment tool. The review of literature, okay, will be use the answer scheme. Okay, the interview script, then we will try to look using the checklist. The portfolio, use the rubric. Observation, use the anecdotal notes. The peer assessment, use the rating scale as the assessment tool. So make sure you know what is your alternative assessment strategies and you are using what kind of tools to measure the performance. Okay. Okay, so then you monitor the student progress. Okay, so when you monitor the student progress, one of the things that you can include in the document is the process, the mark that you take, because in assessment you should have a few score. Assessment is not about you giving the assignment and then you at the final semester, I mean the week 14 or week 15, you mark and you got the final score. It is not assessment. It is called evaluation. Assessment means, okay, please submit your draft for week 2, week 4, week 6, week 8. So if you have that score, it will be so nice to put in the document to show that you are monitoring your student progress. Okay. So this is some kind of advisable to do more than 3 times, okay, because this is assessment for learning, which is the formative assessment will scaffold to the summative assessment, and this is an evidence, which is this evidence you can put in the document, okay, and make sure when you monitor the students, write the student's name, the date of the assessment, and write some comment or score, okay, using any tools that you can compare. Okay, how student work in week 2, week 4, week 6, week 7. Okay, so that tracking progress, okay, when you put in the document in this competition, it's something that's rare because not many lecturers do that. Okay, not many candidates do that. Okay, so okay, now I would like to share the slide. Okay, this slide is in Bahasa Melayu because during the competition I'm using this slide, so I just show you what I have. Okay, so I have YouTube here. Maybe later it's okay. It's just the summarization of the project. Okay, so the title is the authentic assessment to assess the generic skills through the service learning. Okay, because at that time I was I was secondment in the service learning center there in UTM. So I used the data, and I also taught one of the courses in under service learning center. So that's why I make full use of it. Okay, and I try to adapt everything, and I enter the competition. Okay, my team. Okay. So Winners of AKRI actually for this service learning is about in Malaysia we have some traditional we call as batik. So actually all courses in service learning center we are not measuring any technical program learning outcome. We measure all the generic skills only, kemahiran insaniah sahaja. So it doesn't matter what is the course. They have batik, they have computer, they have they have catering, all the living skill courses. okay, which is Puan Afrina is one of the certified trainer for the batik. So me as a lecturer there, I only help her in form of assessment. She's the one who teach. Okay, this is kind of, how the generic skill being embedded in service learning center. All right, so first, this is the rationale of project. So this format is actually, I'm using the format on 2018. Okay, 2018. So of course, this project, that project is to empower the assessment, okay, is to develop the students' generic skills using the assessment, okay. What is the assessment? The assessment strategy is the service learning. The assessment tool is the rubric. So we want to use the valid and reliable rubric because at this time, okay, the research problem, the problem happen is have some of the lecturers or some of the trainers, when they assess students' generic skills, when we look at the rubric, they are using the technical rubric. Okay, because generic skill is something not related to technical skills. But when we look at the rubric, okay, some of them still use the quiz, some of them still use the the test, which is how your test want to measure your teamwork. How? Cannot, right? You are not discussing in the final exam, also in the test. So it happens. So we took the initiative to develop one standard rubric at time. The standard means something flexible for you to look and to make an example. It's not rigid, you must use that, no. Because as I said before, there is no one size fits all. Okay, so we emphasize on the rubric and of course the authentic assessment, meaningful learning, and also the knowledge transfer using the assessment strategies, which is service learning. Okay, so this is the project approach. Okay, so here, okay, the assessment is the service learning itself using the authentic assessment. Why authentic assessment? Because students has to go to the community. They have to go to the community. So under here, we have the rubric. We have the rubric, which is the rubric is using the item response theory, which is item response theory is the measurement theory, the one that I told you before. Okay. I also embed the constructivism theory, but this constructivism theory is more on the learning outcome. So in my document, I do not explain more about this. I explain more about this. If I enter the competition under the teaching and learning, I will emphasize more on this. You have to remember that teaching and learning assessment cannot be separated. But how you arrange the document to make it look as a learning and teaching, transformative learning and teaching, and how you arrange the document to make sure that you are under the alternative assessment. Okay? Okay, this is the conceptual framework. How? Okay, how the alternative assessment happened. Actually, this one is the one that I showed all of you previously, which is from identifying the outcomes until monitoring the students' progress. So if you ask me now, also I forgot how we done because I didn't teach yet. I didn't teach anymore. That 2018, the last time, because after that I was transferred to another department, okay, to look for the UTM quality academic, okay, change. So the things that I remember is, okay, we do many assessment, not only one. That's why we have the first observation, second observation, and the third observation. Okay, now I remember. The third observation, when we see the average here, it's not the average between the score 1 and score 2. It's not fair. It's not fair if you take the average, because this is all about skills. The skills in week 1 and the skill in week 14 would be different. In week 1, the students cannot talk at all, but you take the score, which is the score is maybe D. If you make an average, okay, maybe it will be only B. But at the end of the semester, actually students can perform very well in their communication skills. So the average here is actually the average of the final score between between or among, between I say, between the lecturer and the students. But I can say why I say among, because under the students, they have more than one student. So not only they have two lecturers, which is me and Puan Afrina, the demonstrator, okay. And also we have another two students that will do the peer assessment toward the students. So the peer assessment also blind assessment, which is this student do not know who are the two students that evaluate him or her. Okay, so I think you have to show how the conceptual framework of your alternative assessment happened. Okay, so some like this. Okay, this is not the best, of course. This is 2018 now, will be more advanced. Okay, then because I'm using the rubric as my assessment tools, and this is the alternative assessment or assessment category, I show them how to make sure that you know that your rubric is valid. So you can use any of any of analysis that can help you to prove. So again, if you want to do this, if you want to enter this competition by group, make sure one of your team members, one of them, they know how to, in research also, this is actually just doing the, I'm using the Rush model analysis to analyze the content validity. So using that, the same thing, we don't need to learn something extra. This is something that we as a researcher, because all the lecturers are researcher, use every in our duty. So no problems. It's something that you already have in your hand, inshallah. So this is how I told the jury that time. So this is the validity of my rubric. So when they see this, they know that you are really seriously into your assessment. Okay. Okay, and also of course the validity and reliability. So this is the reliability of my instrument. Okay, just show, because you only have 5 minutes or 7 minutes. No need to explain so much. Just show this is I'm using the Rush measurement model to get my validity and the reliability of the rubric. Okay, just briefly only. And the program learning outcome that being assessed in this alternative assessment is team working, adaptability, leadership, and global citizen. Okay, so the name is not same like in the PLO in MQF, but because UTM they rebrand the name of the PLO that time. Now we are using exactly the same from MQF 2.0. Okay, so this is how students' involvement, because there is one section you have to tell how the students' engagement in your assessment. So I involve them. Of course, first we have the peer assessment. The second one, all of them go for the service learning to the community, and they do the transfer knowledge. Okay, because under service learning we have serve and learn. So my learn is bigger than the serve. If the serve is bigger, it's like you just painting the masjid. This is a serve bigger than learn. But in this alternative assessment, the learn is bigger than the serve. Means the students have to teach the community, transfer the knowledge. Until now, the community use that knowledge to do their own batik, and they can sell and generate their income in the kampung. Okay. Okay. And then the impact, the project impact, as I told you, you must have an evidence. Okay, you must have an evidence how the PLO is being measured from time to time. So this is, for example, so this is assessment by the lecturer. The orange one is the assessment by the students. We have the first assessment, the second assessment, and then the third assessment. So you can see that sometimes people are quite sensitive with this kind of ICGPA. They thought, oh, this is ICGPA. No, this is not necessarily ICGPA. Okay, this is spider web, which is I can get from the Excel, not ICGPA. Okay, so means that you can see that the more the expense or the skills become better. Okay, so of course, beside of this slide, you must have the report, the evidence in the Google Drive. Okay, because actually they will ask that, they want to see. So only the slide, because only 5 or 7 minutes. So just explain very brief, but all the evidence will be you will put it in the Google Drive that they will ask you to put. Okay. So this is the effectiveness. Okay, the simple effectiveness using the, I think I'm using the independent sample t-test. No, sorry, I'm using the PET sample t-test because this is a pre-test and post-test. Okay. So with the data, you can say it's proven, empirically proven that there is there is the increment or the skills become better before the assessment and after the assessment. Okay, just like that. Okay, and I do also in the, this is an inform of table, and this is actually, if you see here, this is the pre-test, this is the post-test. Okay, using the rush measurement model, the item map. Okay, the item that higher, okay, higher item, this is the lower item, this is a logic. So the higher logic will show that the students having the difficulty to perform that level. So if you see all the post item is lower, means the students have more confidence to perform that particular item. Item is performance because the rubric is actually measuring the performance. Okay, so this is a pre-test. This is the post-test. So all the pre-test, they before the alternative assessment, they think it's quite difficult for them to do rather than after the alternative assessment. Okay, and you also can give the suggestion for the next suggestion, because for example, in my case, I'm only use the simple rush measurement model. Okay, so in assessment, you also can use the multifaceted to make sure the reliability of the interactive reliability, because in this assessment, you have 2 lecturers that will assess you. You have another 2 students. So how you should know that maybe the students just give the mark, I will give you high. They let's say they complot each other. Okay, all of us, we should give mark, all of us high. So I will give you higher. Something like that. So using the multifaceted, you can know either the score is really valid or not. Okay, but in this case, I didn't use. That's why I said this is the next, my recommendation suggestion for the next time. Okay, and then maybe that time I'm only using the Excel. Okay, Excel. So maybe next time can, and now they have up to 2018. So the Service Learning Center, they have the system to track the progress of the students, which is can auto generate to look at the students' profile like this. Okay, all right. And the rubric should be expanded to another generic skills, not only these 4 generic skills. Okay, okay. So this is the, in like a research, we have cadangan kajian lanjutan, right? So more or less same like that. Okay. What time? Okay, I think that's all, Dr. Amira. Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adibah, for the wonderful sharing session. All right, now I will to open up floor for Q&A session from the members of the floor. Any question? Can I ask you 2 questions, Dr. Adibah?
Okay, please, Dr. Amira.
Okay, the first one, you did mention about rubric, right?
Yes.
How do you really define an effective rubric?
Okay. The first one, the effective rubric is really measuring the operational definition. That is why when you want to measure the rubric, okay, first you must know either your rubric is going to measure the formative or the summative assessment. If you are going to measure the summative assessment, which is the product, you go for holistic rubric. But if you are measuring the formative assessment, ongoing process, you use the analytical rubric. That's the first one. The second one, you have to make sure that the dimension that you want to measure, for example, communication skill, we call dimension. All the component, we call the construct that measure the communication skills is really the component of communication. Because, for example, sometimes I say this is communication skills, but suddenly one of the component, for example, attendance. Attendance is nothing to do with the communication skills. Why you put under the rubric? In fact, if the students do not attend your service learning, there is another way. Either the students can be, they have to resit for the courses or not. So do not put any construct which is not relevant with your dimension just now. That's the second one. The third one, you give the weight. the weight. So make sure that the construct or the behavior that you think is important, you give the highest weight. For example, of course, there is not the same weight between the, if we are do assignment, the knowledge composition and the reference. Of course, the reference only 5%, but the knowledge composition should be 30%. Okay, okay. When I say that the construct that you think, I mean think here, think empirically. Means to choose the construct under the communication skills, you have to do some, you know, like we do the research literature review. Make sure that all the operational definition of communication is really correct, accurate. So then you will have the very effective rubric. Okay, that's Amirul.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And my last question would be, would there be any disadvantages of alternative assessment?
The disadvantages is only longer time to be implemented. Longer time. Okay, compared to, and then yeah, and plus minus sometimes alternative assessment because it takes a longer time. Then normally the alternative assessment need the teamwork normally. So when it comes to teamwork, not all the lecturers can measure either there is a free rider or not, either the students really do the work or not. So the lecturers themselves, they have to make sure that they monitor. They have, you know, the medium to monitor the reports, okay, or the rubric. We have to check. So for me, but I would say that it's okay that kind of disadvantages as long as we can see that alternative assessment is helping much more for the students' development compared to the traditional assessment. So it's okay for us to sacrifice longer time and etc. as long as we really can develop the human capital that can, you know, contribute much to our nation. So no problem.
Okay. At the end of the day, I think Dr. Adiba, we are going to shape future leaders. And I think this could be one of the catalysts for us to really, you know, have this kind of, you know, future leaders that we want.
I think I have to be the leader at home first. Now the children is also like, you know, hanky-panky at home with the PDPR. I have to do the champion in the house first.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adiba.
You're welcome.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to proceed with our last session today. And I would like to welcome Dr. Chong Lee Chu from Taylor's University. And she was the winner for 2019 AKRI for the category of Curriculum Program Pengajian Innovative or Innovative Course. We are so glad that you could be here today to share your insights on this category. The floor is now yours, Dr. Chong. Over to you. I think, Dr. Chong, you are muted, I guess.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, before that, let me share my screen. Oh, hold on, sorry. Yeah. All right. Just to make sure, can you see my screen now?
Can, Doctor.
Right. All right. Good afternoon, everyone, again. First of all, I would like to thank Center for Professional Development, IIUM, for the invitation to share a little bit about the winning of AKRI under the category of Curriculum for Innovative Study Program. For your information, 2019 is the first time our program took part in the competition, and we say that are lucky that we become the champion. So today I'm going to share a bit the process, how we have gone through during the AKRI application, as well as the final presentation. Yeah, before that, allow me to introduce myself a bit. I graduated in food processing and preservation PhD in USM. I'm currently a senior lecturer and program director of Bachelor of Science Culinology, School of Food Study and Gastronomy, Taylor's University. And some of the modules that currently I'm teaching really involve about food product design, development, art and sciences of food preparation, art and sciences of pastry and baking, And besides, as an academic, all of us have to do research. As an active researcher, so this is the research area that I'm involving in, like sustainable food processing, value-added food product development, and consumer behavior towards healthy eating. So why I want to share this, basically is because I would like to say that I'm glad to be put in this environment, which I'm surrounded with food, which need a lot of creativity and innovative. So this is why we're able to come up with a program that needs all this innovation. At the same time, make us keep being creative. So including how the program is being developed. So yes, 12th of September 2019 is a proud moment when the program is announced as the champion under the category. And when actually the invitation come to me saying that can you share a bit on the program winning, all the memories come back, the sweet moment, the hard moment especially, because this journey is not short for me. A few months we have been spending collecting the information. I think others speakers have been speaking on this as well. It's not easy, the preparation. Yeah. So I divided the whole process into 3 stages. So the first one, I call it a pre-application. And here, before we even start to apply, I have one question asking myself, are you sure you want to apply? Yeah, I think this question is not come to me, but my superior. I remember when the competition is being announced, my superior asked, hey Chong, you think criminology program should go for this round AKRI? I'm like, oh, okay. Instead of straight away tell my boss a yes, I said, let me think. So what is that in my mind that made me need to think first? Actually is the 4 questions that inside me. The first one is whether the program is innovative and creative enough in terms of the 4 areas. I call it a 4Ds, which is the design of the program, the delivery of the program, development of our student, and the destination of our graduates. Why all these 4 areas is very important. Not sure about others university or institute. When come to this category, the program category, usually is the head of program or the program director will be the project leader. So apart from the heavy, high workloads of the administration work, in order to prepare this, right, first thing first, whether later on the time, the effort you invested in is worth it. So you have to check whether we fulfill the criteria or the minimum requirement. So I have been asking myself these 4 and I'm checking on it. And why I say so? Let's look at the definition of this category. In there, we can see that what they are looking forward, a definition of this curriculum program being innovative is you must have a design of structure of the curriculum which is creative, and in terms of the pedagogy, how you conducted the class, how you actually groom the student, grow the student, and how you able to do inspire the student to become more creative. And lastly, how about the outcome of it? Yeah, so when the definition for curriculum program being innovative is this, we first have to ask ourselves, is our program fulfilling these 4 criteria? And if you look at the objective of the award, and the most important thing we must have to prove to the judge, to the panel is be able to create a future-proof graduate. Just now we listened to Dr. Adiba mention about evidence. Yes, I totally agree with that. You must collect sufficient information or evidence to showcase that the hard work you have done towards the program, how you mentioned how good you have conducted class, but how about the outcome? Do you have the evidence to show everyone that your program create all these future-proof graduate? So after asking myself the 4 questions, looking at it, the first criteria is the structure of it. I think that is a yes. I'm able to go for it. Then I tell my superior, all right, let's give it a try. Okay, so I'm going to take an example of my own program, what I mentioned about the innovative of the program or the delivery of the program. First is the design of the program. Yeah, just now when I mentioned that I'm from Bachelor of Science Culinology, I'm sure some of you like, what? Culinology? Yes, culinology actually is an area that combining culinary art, food science, and food technology. And the terms culinology come from the words combine or hybrid of culinary art, food science, and technology. And this is a registered word, a trademark word by Research Chef Association in US. So I can imagine the panel when they even just look at the title of the program, culinology. Yeah, something is already create their interest to look at what is this program about. And especially in the first part, I remember in the form, we need to tell about our program, explain about our program. Yeah, this is where we first create their interest to further read on our program. And for information, culinology program is the first and only culinology degree offered in Asia. So what we are doing is not something new to everyone, but what we are doing is something that closing the gap that existing in the food industry in terms of the food product development that not able to perform by the existing program. So when your program able to close the gap which is facing by the industry, so it's already shown that your program has the potential. Your program is creative enough to have the solution for the current gap. So that's why I think that looking at it, we know that culinology program have the potential. Yes, first question answer, let's take part in the program, in the competition. Yeah, how about the delivery of program? So as I mentioned just now, culinology program is about product development. We develop more healthy food for the industry, for the people, without compromising the taste and texture. We need a lot of science knowledge, but at the same time, we need the arts, the culinary arts part, the arts element in creating a nice product. So whether we able to deliver all this and gel these 2 areas together is very, very challenging. And this is where we can showcase to the judge that, in order to gel this, our delivery of the program will be different from others. Yeah. We can't just like, oh, okay, I teach you cooking, I teach you about the food science, okay, about the technology, but this is not a hybrid. We claim ourselves as a hybrid that we're able to gel all this together, allow the student to understand it. So in order to showcase or to provide the evidence, we just not just mention about what we have done. We prove them using all the outcome of our student. For example, here, this is some of the example that created by our student. Their project, a product that ready to be marketed with the formulation ready to be mass produced, and it's a healthier version. So all this is the evidence that we're able to provide. So then it actually helps us conquer the judge that our delivery of the program is actually on point or even able to do so. Okay. So, and the third one is on the development of student. Okay, when we mention about development of student, I take it as the meaning as apart from just studying, how actually we develop other skill of our student, especially soft skill. Yeah, so this is where we have showcased to the panel or the judge that our student is not just study in the classroom, Okay, we give them the proof that we already we expose our student to the real world, to the international competition, and this is our achievement. Yeah, that's why we say that maybe only a year of the result doesn't significant enough to show it, but we have collectively collect all this information and prove it that we are the champion, we are the world champion in terms of food product development. So our student is not just learning in class, they learn outside, they apply whatever they have, and this is how we develop our student in terms of their learning. And last one is about the destination of graduate. Where our graduate going to end up after they graduate from the program. As we know, in one of the criteria of the program competition is about the employability of our graduate. We have done a survey among all our graduates, getting the information from them to do a survey with them. Where are they currently? Okay, what are they working as? So, and from the result, we're able to prove that all our graduates are 100% employed. Yeah, it's not from just our survey. We get it from the survey that students need to do before they graduate. Just skip my mind. Yeah, and we realize we get the result is the employability rate is 100%. This is really amazing. Yeah, because to get 100% employability rate is not easy, but our students able to secure their placement right after they graduate or even during their internship. And majority of the students actually are in the food industry, which is their core competency, instead of venturing into others area which is not related to their core discipline. They actually remain at the same field of their study. And most importantly, the core competency of the culinary graduate is in R&D, application, food product development, and majority of our students remain in this area and they are doing very good in this area. So the demand from the industry is high. So by knowing all these statistics, we know that our student is at the right place, and this is the evidence that we're able to showcase. That's why I really agree with the previous speaker mentioned that if you think that your program is not ready for that, maybe we need to wait for another round. We really have to make sure that the data that we show, the statistic that we show, able to prove that we already achieved the area that need, especially on the future-proof graduate, because this is under the category of the program. Yeah. So this is the more to the pre-application part. Even before we start to do our application, take out our pen, to fill in the form. Yeah, this is something that we have to study before we really decided to take part. Or you say yes to your boss, they say, yeah, boss, we can do it. But at the end, you might waste your effort. And for like example, as a culinary program, it's not a new program. We already launched the program or started the program 10 years ago. Yeah, so that's why, but our first cohort that graduate is in 2015. So in the 4 years time, this is the information that we can gather. And now this is the right time for us to apply for this category. All right, moving on during the application. So during the application, I would say this is a tougher journey where really a lot of documentation you have to prepare. I'm sure if you have taken part before or you experienced it before, it's not an easy job. That's why my question here, I I assume the one that need to in charge of the project or the project leader will be the program head or the program director. The question to you is, are you sure you want to do it alone? This is not possible. Yeah, and as the project leader to apply for this category, the program one, please make sure you have these 3 keys. It's very, very important. The time, your team, as well as the tactic you have, okay, in the application. First of all, why I mentioned about times. Not sure whether you have looked at the application form before. This is for the 2019. Just to extract out some part of it, like the from the scenarized SEMA, you can see how many document that you need to prepare. And this is look like, oh, it's still okay, it's just 9. And for information, there is a lot of subtopic and subtopic below that you need to gather the information. It needs a lot of writing, a lot of explanation, a lot of evidence that you need to collect to attach to your application. So here, I don't think you'll be able to do it by yourself. You really, really need to spend time in collecting all the data and even fill up all the forms one by one, right? So that's why I mentioned that times is very, very important, how we allocate it. And if you decided to take part 1 month or even just 2 weeks before the competition, maybe it's not a smart choice to do that. Yeah. And next is about the team. I will say that I'm very, very glad that I have the best team. Yeah. In our team, we have around 5 to 6 of us working on this project. Yeah, and all of us are academic, full academic lecturer teaching various modules and already very busy on that. But in order to complete this project, basically we play multiple roles. And I still remember for the 2019 one is where we need to submit videos, and then we can have our submission in the Google Drive, and then we have to create the QR code. Yeah, so all of a sudden, we are not just academic, we become an analyst, data analysis. We have to check on the information, we have to do data collection, we have to communicate with the department to get the information. We have to interview the employer. Our student currently graduated, we interview the employer. What is the feedback of them towards our graduate? We have become a videographer. We have to do the video, and at the same time we become a designer. How to design a nice portfolio of the program. So it's amazing when you have all these talented people in your team. Yeah, even though you might not have, then I'm sure all the university, IUM also have a department that support us, and we are glad that Taylor's do have the department who support us a lot when it comes to all this video and assisting us as well. Yeah, so team is very important. Okay, don't work on just few of you and work it as a part-time. By that time, basically we OT. It's a bit like, are you sure you need to do that? We'll say yes. Apart from the teaching, actually we have to stay back a lot and work together. Yeah, and gather our information, align the information. Yeah. So the teamwork is very important. And lastly is on the tactic. Why I mentioned that it's a tactic, because basically taking part in competition is just like how our students sitting for exam. We always tell our students, you need to be smart, right? When it comes to exam, you might not able to, a lot of things for you to study, a lot of module for you to learn or memorize, but which one actually carry more weightage? Just like for those that with higher credits, we always say, yeah, pay more attention. The 2 credits one, maybe Okay, when I finish study the 4 credits, I study the 2. So this is what I mentioned. We look at the weightage of the point. And here, when we look at the evaluation, it seems that the impact carries the most mark or the highest percentage, the 40%, almost half of the points of it. So we pay a lot of attention on this. And impact basically is, we'll take it as an outcome of the program, which is our graduate, and what is the achievement that our student have, because it's a program based, different from others category, which is module based. So this one is overall. So we have to make sure that student is not just good in one module or one area. They have to be they're able to perform, and what you have listed in your program learning outcome, right? You actually showcase that student able to fulfill and display, okay, it with evidence. So we pay a lot of attention here. That's the reason I share with you. We interview the employer, right? We interview the graduate, okay, what they think about, what is their feedback towards the program, and do they think that they're able to utilize fully what they have learned from the program as well. So this is something that we can always attach in the application, and this part is something that we can focus a lot more. And I say that it takes us a lot of time, take up a lot of time of us to prepare it, because I say it's not a paperwork. We have to go out and talk to people outside to do the interview, to do the recording, and yeah, after the recording, come back, you have to do the editing, right? So this is what I mentioned, that maybe when you do, because a lot to do, so maybe some part which have higher weightage, you can focus more on, because rationality, the pendekatan, kelipatan, yeah, something that we can also, we need to focus on. But for information, the impact, I think, is really we able to give the full evidence that make us to the final. Yeah, so this is what I'm just now trying to share, is on the effectiveness or the impact. Make sure you showcase the outcome supported by evidence. Okay, for example, we really do a lot of student achievement, program achievement, alumni achievement. So this is the 3 things we focus when we do the submission, because looking at the objective of the award, the anugerah, is future-proof graduate. You have to make sure that your graduate actually are doing good in their discipline. We might have student graduate from the food area, but end up they might doing other businesses which is not related, even though they are the big boss, the CEO of the business, but not related to food, is not able to showcase the outcome of your program. Yeah, this is something that you need to pay attention with. And after the submission, this is where after waiting for a month, when the finalist is being announced, yeah, we are happy that we are in the finalist and able to go to the final stage to do the final presentation. So this is the 3rd stage, which is the final stage, which is, I mentioned, the final presentation. And here again, I assume the project leader will be doing the presentation. And here I put out a note here, you have to do it alone. Yeah, and I'm not sure whether the coming AKRI will change their rules, but last time we are told that your submission, the marks, the score you get won't be carried forward to your final presentation. It's only give you a pass to go to final stage. So in order for you to be named champion, 2nd or 3rd, it solely depends on the final presentation. So that's why the stress for the presenter actually is there, because whether you're going to get the award, it solely depends on your 10 minutes presentation, and it's all by you. Okay, so I call this the golden 10 minutes. What we're going to do, what we have done in the final presentation, I shared, yeah, I think no matter how experienced we are in presentation, we kind to feel nervous or stress when there is a time frame for us. And you have been spending months preparing your proposal or your application, which is don't know how many pages thick. Even though we putting in the link, the QR code, but still the portfolio is so big, so it's so thick. How are we going to summarize everything in these 10 minutes? Yeah, so the presentation is something that you need to plan. I still remember, the presentation is one day before the award ceremony in the 11th of September. I think after my PhD Viva, I never feel so nervous before in my presentation. Maybe one thing is because my superior is sitting at the back. Another thing is like, oh, okay, everyone is looking at you. This 10 minutes is very important for you to share everything that you have written in your application. So basically, this is a summary of your submission. Okay, A to Z, you have to tell about it. And yes, managed to make it through. And later I'm going to share, show you a bit the slide that I presented during the 10 minutes and how we condense everything in these 10 minutes. Because we are told that after 10 minutes, the timekeeper will ring it, tong, 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 okay, ting, 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 you have to stop. No extension of time as well. And same thing, be prepared for the technical error. I still remember that they at the beginning also we are facing some technical error in problem in showing our slide, and as well as a video. No sound can be here, so ting tong, actually we delay some of the time as well. So be prepared for that. So the presenter, make sure you, not to say memorize, you know well what you're going to present. Even though without the slide, you're able to tell your story, share your story. Yeah. So actually that's all for my sharing. Before I move on to show you the slide that I used to present during the presentation. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a while. Okay, right. So, right, I hope you can see my screen. Yeah, this is the cover page that of the presentation slide, and we even created a tagline for the program: innovate, redefine, redesign for food. And in this tagline, actually capture the essence of the program. Yeah. And we tell a bit introduction about the program, when it started, the history of it, and what is this program about. As I mentioned, if your program is very new, for some of the people or even the judge, you need to really explain it. Okay, so because we think that this is a really innovative program, something that is new to many people, please make sure you highlight how special is your program. So this is what we have shared, okay, and the program rationale, and again we share with them why the program is being created, okay, and what is the area that we are focusing on, and what will be the core competency or the outcome of the program. This is important to share because it later going to align with your graduate capability as well as the graduate profile that match, saying that yeah, they have fulfilled the core competency of the program. They're able to utilize what they have learned from the program and doing very well in the industry currently. So this is the program under the program rationale and the program approach. So how we summarize it in a simple form, a slide, how we actually gel the two different background students. And just for information, Culinology, Bachelor of Science Culinology program is a very unique program that the student that join the program can be from arts background or science background. Yeah. So so when they join in, this is a very challenging part, how the academic or the lecturer able to level the two different background students together, okay, so that they can move on at the same level. So this is the interesting part. So we showcase that we able to do so through the first year learning, and then the second year learning, and last year, the third year, how they apply it, they showcase it through their capstone project, and some of the method or delivery assessment that we have used in our class. So, and also, what is the special one? We have a lot of method or delivery method, but what is the special one that you have used? Because this is an innovative program, you must do something different from others, right? So this is something that we have shown them how we actually make it, and for us, we do on student standard learning, okay? And industry-based learning, assessment, and some of the proof, how we conduct it instead of a lecturer assessing the student. Basically, we're getting the industry and come in and tell us how good is your student or how good is your products, right? So in terms of program engagement, you have to showcase, because this is a very industry related program. So industry engagement, who are those who that actually associate with your program? Yeah, we have the big people that is our adjunct appointment. So build the confidence, let the judge know that, wow, all right, yes, they have someone very strong in the area, in the industry that's supporting the program, right? And also what others activity for us to develop our student. As I mentioned, not just about in class, what other activity, event do we get student involved? So we are showcasing all these activity that we have done, and what are the facility we have. I remember in the form we have to fill in a lot of it. Yeah, but and when come to the slide, please, just one slide will do, because we have only that 10 minutes, right? And then yeah, showcasing some of the outcome of the products. And lastly, as I mentioned, the most important part is the effectiveness. So to prove that your program is the best, you have the evidence. What will be the evidence? Achievement is the first one. So we prove that we are the world champion, and we have a track record how we maintain as a champion in the international product development competition without fail every year. And also not just international, local food competition, we join a lot. And also the winning of it, we showcase it as well. And last but not least is definitely the university ranking that we can share about, because the program is under the discipline of hospitality and leisure management. So this is what we showcase. And most important, future-proof graduate. Yeah, you have to tell them where your student landed. And yeah, okay, yeah, before that, employability rate. Just now, I forget the terms. Graduate tracer study is an official record or the data that show that the the student employability. We have proved it since our first batch graduate until the end, 2018, because of competition 2019. We have proved it 100% employability rate. So we mean that we really close the gap in current industry. We produce the graduate as actually have the demand in the current industry. They need them, right? And we showcase some of the example of our successful graduate, what actually they have come up, and show some of the product you see them in the market actually is from them. See? Yeah, so our successful alumni. So this is what we have showcased to tell that the potential of the program and what actually the program leading, okay, as compared to others similar program that exist in current university or local or private university. Yeah, so so that's all what we have showcased in the 10 minutes. And yeah, lastly, with a lovely picture of all the team member, which I mentioned is the best team that I have to make us to the final or make us as a champion of this competition. Yeah, so that's all from me for my sharing, a short one.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chong, for the insightful sharing session and also for the tips and the strategies. We will now proceed with the Q&A from the members of the floor, and we have one question from Dr. Suhaimi. And the question goes, Dr. Chong, what do you think about a degree program that changed to tailor to industry through MOA be counted as innovative degree?
Okay, the question about the change to tailor to industry through MOA. MOA is the Memorandum of Agreement. We count it as innovative degree. I would say that when a program that designed to tailor to the industry will be the coming trend. And that's the reason why now a lot of short courses, micro-credential has been created. Actually, it's not just for the current student or the potential, the degree student or even the progression student, but micro-credential can be a program for working people, industry people, where they can take the short courses and make them, encourage them to further their study to take their degree. Yeah, so I think the question here is like, what I think of to tailor the program to industry through MOA is something that I agree to do. So which our program do a lot on the MOA signing with the industry. Yeah, because instead, in fact, I think this strengthened the program a lot.
All right. There's another one question from me, myself. All right.
Okay.
What would be the prominent challenge that you face while applying for this award? And how did you mitigate the challenge?
As I shared just now, the challenge for myself is when I look at the 4 questions, I say I ask myself before I agree to agree to join, to say yes to join. I don't have the sufficient before I get the sufficient information or data. I wonder, I hesitate to join because maybe is have the mindset that it's going to have a lot of work to prepare. Make sure we strategize it, make sure we are ready for that. So because all this while we don't really collect all the data. The data is there, just that it's not collectively in one place. So we have to spend a lot of time to approach different departments to collect it accordingly. But I'm glad that I'm a program director, so I do have some information through our annual program review. We have done all this, we have the examiner report, so I can study from this. Yeah, but still there is a lot of information actually packed under different departments. And you really need the cooperation from others department to really share you the information. Yeah, because they do have their work to do. Then you have to ask, can I have this? Can I have that? Sorry, I left out that year. Can I have that? So there's something that it's not a problem, but I would think that not a hurdle, just that more work and more time we have to spend on that. Yeah, and also is actually this is the first time the program take part. Before this, we even not taking. I think my program itself or myself not taking part in others category. So we are not sure whether we are at the right direction. What actually we putting in the application is what the judge actually looking for. Yeah. So that time, I think we are glad that we have the ELA department that time to share with us. We can always consult them to ask, or we even they can we can get a mentor to guide us, like asking question. How about previously? Is it same like this session? Yeah, whether we actually filling in the information correctly. Yeah, so I think because it's without any previous experience that make us take longer time to do the amend. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Chong, for the answer. Any more questions from the members on the floor?
Hi, Dr. Chong.
Hi.
My name is Fariza, so I'm from Department of Business. So first of all, thank you very much for your very wonderful sharing this afternoon. So actually, in regards to what have been asked by my colleague Dr. Suhaimi just now, actually we at the Department of Business, we have something like, an additional program. It is not a totally new program. It's an additional program that we did with our industry partner. So currently we have the first batch at the industry at the moment. It's just that when it comes to the impact, okay, if we were to apply for this AKRI category, so because since they are BBA student, Bachelor in Business Administration, so in terms of the, let's say we take employability as the impact, okay, so since they are business students, okay, BBA student, so what if when it comes to employability, they can be employed in so many places. I mean,
Yes,
unlike
correct.
in your course, okay, in your program, it's very specific to the food industry. But for our BBA students, it's going to be very, very general. So when it comes to really measuring whether they, actually the output of the program, so I'm quite concerned when it comes to reporting the impact of the program. Any thought on this?
Yeah, actually for the business student, we can based on the current position or the job scope of the student, what they are currently doing. So you will need a lot of information from your graduate, yeah, related to what currently they are doing, whether they're able to apply what they have learned from their program. Yeah. Aside from that, because if a business-related program, I'm not sure entrepreneurship or own business is something counted that you can showcase that they're able to apply what they have learned from the program.
I
So
see.
it's not just even though they are not in having own business, they are working with others in the food industry or in the textile industry. So as long as they're able to share, you collect the data from them, you do an interview with them, yeah, they share with you, they able to apply what knowledge, what skill they have learned from the program and really beneficial them in their current job.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Something for us to think about. Thank you for your input. All right, back to you, Dr. Amirul.
Okay, thank you so much. Any more last questions from the members on the floor? All right. The attendance, sorry, Nur Hidayah, I think the attendance has been shared, and I think we will share with you again the link. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Chong's presentation marks the end of our session for today. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to express our thanks to everyone who has attended our webinar. We hope that you have gained more knowledge and insight on AKRI. We will email all of you the evaluation form for today's program. Hence, we would appreciate if you could answer the survey and provide us with your feedback. And for those who are applying for the award, we wish you all the best. And to all the speakers, I would like to express our gratitude for your time and sharing of your experiences with us for the benefit of our participants. Once again, thank you very much and all the best in your future undertakings. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, Assalamualaikum. See you soon. Bye. Thank you.